Welcome to MLB Talk, New York's #1 baseball podcast. Now here's your hosts, Chris Pizzaya and Rob Maraska.
And welcome to a new episode of MLB Talk with your hosts, Rob and Chris, as we cover the Mets, the Yankees, and all of Major League Baseball. And if you found us on YouTube, hit that sub button for us. We would really appreciate it. If you want, you can follow us on Twitter, and you can follow us on TikTok at NYMLB Talk, and you can follow Rob at Armaraska. You can follow myself at CP7NY. You could also find us at sportswire.org, where there's all of the sports content on there as well. So, Rob, we're finally here on our big Friday night show, and we do have our good friend Scott, but we don't have Anthony, but he might be coming, right? He's got some difficulties going on there.
Yeah, Anthony's having technical difficulties, so they're working on it, and we hope that he gets on here fast. But until then, we got Scott Morganroth from the South Florida Tribune, our good friend Scott. Scott, how's everything going?
Doing fine. Glad to be on again. Looking forward to tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're glad that you're on, and we're gonna just start out there. Chris, what's going on with the Yankees Red Sox?
Well, they lost 1-0 tonight. Once again, the bats disappear. Last night they lost as well, 6-3. Tonight they lose 1-0. Fried finally pitched better. Wasn't, he did give you 5 shutout innings, but he wasn't, back to his first half. He did walk a few batters, but he definitely a much better performance than he has since the All-Star break. But the bats, listen, it comes down to it with the Yankees, right? They're built to hit home runs, and they're the best at it, right? They got the most home runs hit this year. But the problem with them is if they don't hit home runs, they don't score runs, right? They don't know how to go to a plan B or a plan C to get guys on base, move them over, like you're supposed to in baseball. They just don't know how to do that. It's either hit a home run or we're not going to get anything. So that's what happened tonight. They lose 1-0. Wasted, good pitching tonight. Only 1 run over 9 innings is great, but when you don't score runs, you're going to lose that game. So that's the end of that. They lose 2 games now. Now they've lost 7 out of 8 to the Red Sox, and they got 2 more. Hopefully they can come back and win Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise it's going to be a lost weekend.
Yeah, listen, Chris. Both teams, even though the Mets are kicking the Braves' butts tonight, but both of these teams are in trouble right now with this pennant race going on. I want to see what an outsider's view is. Scott, what do you think about the 2 New York teams right now with this pennant race and what they're doing? Not winning.
Well, right now you're still looking at August 22nd. Let me worry about it come September 22nd. Right now they're still in the hunt, so I'm gonna do what you call the Aaron Rodgers way. You don't like him in New York anymore. Relax, for crying out loud. You need to relax. That's what I think. I mean, they're still in the playoffs. Technically, I think both of them would be in the playoffs if they start tomorrow, right?
Yes.
So if you don't have division titles, there's no reason to sit here and panic. I mean, I think the Phillies have a 7-game lead, if I remember right, over the Mets. Is that about right?
Yeah, you're close there, and they let's see what the Phillies are doing. They blew the lead against Washington, so we got to get the score for that game. But still, the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, here's the thing: it's all about getting in the tournament. Once upon a time, okay, the Miami Marlins never won a division title. They had 2 World Series titles to show for it via the wild card. That doesn't teach you a lesson. That tell me what will.
Oh yeah, definitely, But Chris,
by the way, the Phillies did lose 5-4.
All right, so the Phillies lost, but Chris, you know how it is in New York with New York fans. They don't care about that other stuff getting in, by the skin of their teeth. They care about titles, especially the Yankees.
Yeah, listen, the Yankee fans, we've been panicking since June. Okay, how bad this team has been playing, and we lost they were in first place, they lost it. Now forget it. I don't think they're going to catch Toronto. I think Toronto's good. And Boston, I could see them finishing above the Yankees too now. But yeah, in New York, especially with the Yankees, it's if you don't win the World Series, you had a horrible season, right? Like last year, we made it to the World Series for the first time since 2009. I know what you're going to say. We made it for the first time since 2009, and we lost. So it was a wasted season for most fans. It's either World Series or bust, unfortunately. We were spoiled in the late 90s, early 2000s with that great run, 4 and 5 years. So now it's like we expect to do it every single year, and that's just not possible. But I know what you're going to say, Scott. Go ahead.
World Series or bust.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? Really?
Yes.
Yes.
In New York, it's World Series or bust.
Yeah.
And especially for the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees, I'm surprised that Boone's still managing the Yankees. I'm talking about before last year, Chris. That
they love him. You know why? Because they're telling him how to manage, and he's doing it. He's basically the puppet. So he's doing exactly the way he is managing the game, exactly the way they want him to. So if they fire him, they're going to have to fire their whole front, the whole front office with all their analytics guys, because they're telling him what to do, and he's doing it. The reason why Joe Girardi got let go is because he was doing stuff on his own, and they didn't like that. So get him out.
Yeah, it's amazing. But Scott, didn't you interview George Steinbrenner once? I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, 9 million lifetimes ago. Sure it was.
How was that conversation?
It was good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I was a young pup. I asked him all the easy questions about player development, everything he could. And then when I got to the manager question, I got what I expected. The boss abruptly cut the interview off, but I got the same treatment Ted Koppel did. So I expected it, but I got what I needed. The story got done. I got paid, and I got a story in a book that got published just recently, within the last year or so. So first time Brenner was a good guy for the most part. He had a great heart. He was always loyal to his players. He gave you a straight answer. If you question the guy about a manager situation, Ted Koppel and I don't care if you're ABC Nightline or the Hallandale Digest, he's going to give you the same abrupt out no matter what happens. It doesn't make any difference to him. And then it's hard to argue with the track record. He bought that franchise from CBS, which is in real financial trouble, and turned that into $1 billion franchise with him and carrying over to his kids. So Steinbrenner's, that franchise was in trouble when he bought it. It really was.
Yep.
Yeah, CBS really destroyed after the great years in the 60s. The late 60s and the early 70s were just horrible years for the Yankees. And once he bought the team, he was determined to make them into winners. And the mid 70s, look what happened. He spent the money. Free agency came along. He got the free agents, and the Yankees became the Yankees again.
Yeah, but he really wanted the Cleveland Indians at the beginning, and he couldn't get it, so he ended up buying it. Now, Joe, let me ask you the answer to your question. He cut it off short at the end, but I got what I needed, so it didn't matter because the interview was about to come to a close anyways. Wasn't a big deal, so I was happy. It didn't bother me. It's not like he insulted a 19 or 20-year-old. No, it's okay. I get it, boss. But, that's why I was smart enough, even at a young age, to figure out what I wanted to ask. And, if you know you're going to hit somebody and ding them with something tough, then you do it later. But I don't use that tactic too often. But that was a popular question back then. And he went through a lot of managers. It's not like I was the first one or the last one that would ask it. He was just used to it. But he had a certain way of doing things. And it's hard to argue with the man's track record, not only financially, but on the diamond as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if he was the owner still, if he was still alive now, Boone would not have lasted as long as he has. Even before last season, he definitely wouldn't. He would have been gone before that. And this year, there's no way he would have lasted as long as he has, because they were bad for about 2 straight months, more than 2 months actually. And now they're back to it. Now they're just up and down. They're just. Again, they rely too much on the home run. I know you need home runs to win games. I get that. But you also have to pivot when you get a game like today where you're not going to hit a home run off of Bayo. Bayo's pitching great. He's been pitching great all season. So he's a guy that you got to find another way to score runs, and they didn't. So they end up losing 1-0.
Yeah, but it makes it worse when it's the Red Sox, Chris, especially now.
They have one win against them this year. One win, the Yankees against Boston. That would never happen with George here. Never. Because they would be afraid to lose against this guy.
No, wait, back off. You would never happen with George. Don't give me that knock.
I'm telling you.
No, I'm telling you. I got more experience in this business than you. You're the new kid on the block. It would happen under any owner.
He's like. Think about, all right, you know what Yankees Red Sox.
All right, wait.
Like?
Well, no. Think about what you're saying. It would happen under George. So you tell me that George is on the ball field and he's playing? It would happen against any top picking owner that's managed Major League Baseball over the years.
But you know what? He would have went down into the locker room and struck fear into this team.
So he what? He struck fear into the team all the time. Doesn't mean he's won 50 World Series. They've only won 27 as a whole.
Only 27. That's all.
That's all.
That's it.
He always struck fear into that team. It didn't make a lick of difference. So what?
No.
Oh, it wouldn't happen with George. Oh, it would happen with anybody.
No, it wouldn't have happened. Against Boston, it wouldn't have happened. They might have stunk against a lot of other teams, but it would not have happened against Boston. It just wouldn't. Like it was so much important. It was like, think about Michigan, Ohio State. Like, that game is everything for those teams, right? That's more than winning the championship. We have to beat Ohio State. We got to beat Michigan, right? That's everything. And back in the day with Miami, right? It was Miami against Florida, right? That was their big rivalry, right? Same thing.
Yeah, until the Gators found a way to get out of that rivalry.
Yeah, they was
beat the daylights out of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm still not drinking the Kool-Aid you're throwing me. You can sit here and try it all day long. Oh, it wouldn't happen against George. Until George is actually in the batter's box throwing the baseball, it would happen because all he's doing is writing the check, not hitting the dingers.
Chris, Scott does make a point because we'll get into let's get into the mid 80s with the Mets and Yankees. That drove George crazy because, let's face it, the Mets did own New York for that time period, and it really George went nuts, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. That's why he was firing a manager every year, trading away all of his young prospects for these veterans coming in, and it wasn't working, and everything else. So yeah, it just did not work back in the 80s. I mean,
and then he got suspended, and all that other stuff happening. So
listen, and then you had like Mel Hall bringing tigers into the locker room, right?
Yeah,
you guys heard that, and dating a girl from high school, right? Going to her prom and all this kind of stuff. It was amazing when you think about the Yankees during the 80s, even very early 90s, compared to how the middle of the 90s and how the 90s ended for the Yankees. It was like, black and white, like how different that whole franchise became. I mean, they were an embarrassment for much of the 80s into the early 90s. And then obviously when he got suspended, that's when things got better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, I just wanted people who waiting for Anthony Savino having technical difficulties, and I'm trying to work with them as we're doing the show, but so far they can't get on. What does Joe say?
It's true. And you know what? The funny part, I think, Scott, this, right? Billy Martin was going to get hired again before he
died.
Right? He was going to get hired again.
Yeah, but what people don't realize is that George Steinbrenner had a heart for Billy Martin. He really did.
Yes.
I mean, hire him 9 million times, whether it's keeping him on the insurance plan, this and that. Those guys really loved each other. It was a show, I granted that, but Billy Martin was a heck of a manager. He really was. He's managed a lot of places. He was a quick fix. A lot of people liking him. The Gerard Gallant is a guy that if you're looking for a quick fix, then he's the type of guy that would give it to you. So there was definitely, let me tell you what, Billy Martin was hired a lot of places and he won. I think the biggest knock against Billy was the way he handled pitching staffs and burned a lot of arms out. But in terms of his ability to win, play small ball, adapt to what was around him. And I actually had a chance to meet Billy Martin many years ago when I was covering the Yankees over in Fort Lauderdale. Really nice to me. He really was. And, during spring training, a lot of people are nice. But there's a difference between nice and then you get a feel that somebody's really being nice to him. I got the genuine warm feeling from Billy Martin. I'll give you a really crazy story, a really interesting story. But here's the thing, okay? Back in '89. I'll never forget when he got killed in that auto accident. I tore my ankle skiing on Magic Mountain, and to this day, I always associate his auto accident as the one I got busted up in New England on Christmas Day. So it was unbelievable. It was just sad. He really wasn't. He got in fights over at this place in Detroit called the old Lindell AC, and you name it. You read up on it. But here's the thing that few people realize, and I'll go back into the history grounds. If you Google up Ron LaFleur, okay, and Ron LaFleur, Billy Martin's the one who found him in Jackson State Prison and got him an opportunity to go to Detroit, but he's not the one that'll get credit for it, is really what it is, because Ralph Houck ended up bringing him on. But Billy Martin laid the groundwork for that, and I have a lot of interesting stuff I'll be mentioning on my show. So Billy Martin was one of those guys, the guy that he ran. Ricky Henderson loved him, and he would adapt to what his team was all about. And so few managers in this day and age haven't even picked up on that. And some of them have, some of them, everybody's so caught up on analytics, but you still have to realize that you have to manage with the gut too. And I don't think I can manage in this day and age. I really couldn't. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is definitely hard managing now. The old time managers, it's dying. It's analytics, it's computers, it's a lot of stuff. Hey, pretty soon we're not even going to have umpires. So, that's
it's
how
just a matter of time. There may not be a manager at some point. There's going to be some guy from the front office standing there, with his book open with all the numbers and say, okay, that's the move we got to do. This is, because right now the manager, that's all he does for a lot of these teams. Maybe Frank Conan with Cincinnati, maybe he freelances. He probably manages the game he wants. He probably uses the numbers to manage, but he probably makes his own decisions. But I think Boone, that's the problem with Boone. Like, he's going by these analytic numbers and he's not going by the feel, because I think Boone would be a really good manager if he went with just his baseball instincts, right? I mean, this guy's been in baseball since he came out of, since he was born, right? I mean, between his father and then he started playing, his brother played, right? Then he was with ESPN for a year or two. So like he's been around the game his whole life. So he doesn't need some guy from, from the front office to tell him how to manage. I think he would be a good manager, but I don't know if we'll ever see that with the Yankees.
Well, I don't know. You guys are too hard on Boone. By the way, Joe, thanks for the kind words. MLB history book. One thing I've learned, though, Joe, is you guys see me in a baseball setting. I've learned to be versatile in a lot of sports and have had a lot of mentors. So when I look at Aaron Boone, yes, he does come from a baseball family. He has had a historic home run for that family for sure, for that team. But this guy is a good baseball man. I think you guys are way too hard on him. I really do, because of the lofty expectations this World Series. But I just don't think, and Michael Kay ranted on it recently that he thinks that's unrealistic. And let's face the reality, just because you win a division doesn't mean you're going to win it all. And I think people up in the metropolitan New York, I really believe, just from an outsider, need to let off the gas a little bit. I really do. Because you got to remember, when you're winning a lot of them World Series, okay, you didn't have as many tiers of playoffs as you did. How many Stanley Cups of the Montreal Canadiens won in 1993? Zero. Okay, zero. And what about back in the day? Well, so what? You didn't have as many. What have you done for me now, Montreal? And again, I'm probably going to get hate mail for you guys. Well, I don't want to hear it. Save it. Yeah, and if it's coming from your Canadians website that you're looking to send me death threats, do it, because you haven't won a cup in 1993. I'll take any shot you have, because but the reality of the situation is this: the fewer teams, the fewer hurdles, the better shot you have. Even the college football playoff these days, you had 4 teams. Now you have 12? It could be 16 before it's all said and done. It doesn't diminish or tarnish what those other ones are, because they played within the rules for what you had. Right. But it's a different story when you go on different tiers and to get to certain places. It's also going to mean that a lot of your records are going to be tainted about how many postseason home runs you're going to get, because you played more games to get to that number faster. So there's so many. Baseball is a game about numbers, is really what it is. And you can look at numbers any way you want and validate them any way. It doesn't make a lick of difference how you do it. But in the end, this is how we have to judge things, based on face value.
I agree.
Well, and I have to update everybody if they're not watching it while they're watching us. The Met game is now 12-7 in the bottom of the ninth. Hey, it looks like the Mets are finally going to win that game. I'm telling you.
There you go. There's no meltdowns, right?
Well,
That's a good Friday night for you guys. That's a big win. This might be, maybe it's the turnaround of the season, right? You go into Atlanta, win 2 out of 3 at least. That's big. That's all you need.
We've been saying that, Chris. We've been saying that for how many weeks now? But listen, Nolan McLean, the kid, what's he become? The Mets stopper? 2 games, 2 wins. The kid is just pitching lights out, going deep into games, saving the bullpen. Although tonight, of course, the bullpen gave up some runs. But what else is new with the Mets bullpen? The kid. What do you think about the kid, Chris? I mean, he's just so far 2 games, he's been amazing.
Yeah, I didn't watch him this game, but his first start, I did watch most of it, and yeah, he looked good. I mean, obviously he pitched good again tonight. I think that's awesome, and that's what you guys needed, a good shot in the arm, because your starters, right, the past month or 2 have not been good. So this is exactly what you guys needed. Who'd you just put back into the bullpen as a starter? Wasn't
Frankie Montas?
Right, Frankie Montas, $15 million starter back in, putting him into the bullpen, which was horrible. But we said it from the beginning, right? Like during spring training, we're like, why did they even sign this guy?
I don't know. They should have. Why didn't they sign Quintana? Why? I don't know what they were doing. We knew Montas was going to be a disaster from the beginning. He had that one. Remember his first game, he pitched decent against the Braves, and it's like, well, maybe he changed. Yeah, he did not change. He's in the bullpen, and I don't even know. They brought him in the other day. Who wants to even see him come in a game? I don't want to see him come in a game. No way. But the Red Sox did that too, right? With Buehler, right? They put him in the bullpen.
Yeah, they did. That was actually his house. Yeah,
I think.
Let me ask you guys a question real quick. All these high-profile trade deadline moves that you made that probably put you in the World Series to create a Subway Series. Where are they going? I haven't seen a whole lot of them come to fruition. Didn't the Yankees get rid of a guy from Colorado recently? He didn't even last about a week, and he was there for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, he's already in AAA.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the AAA. So what is he calling the Little Apple Scranton Bear Wilkesboro, whatever you call it? I mean, I don't know.
Yep.
So they call that the Little Apple out in Pennsylvania. I have no clue. I'm just saying. I don't know what the altitude is like out in Pennsylvania, but I know it's a whole lot higher in Colorado, and the seat got really hot out in New York. So go figure. Seems like Colorado players don't fare very well in New York. Look at my man DJ LeMahieu. He's not even working anymore.
Yeah, no, he's still out there, but no, and I thought they made pretty good moves, but obviously, but once again, Cashman he's bulletproof. He's going to have a job till whenever he wants to leave, right? I mean, he's another guy I don't think would have lasted if George was here, because he would have no patience.
I agree with you, but and with the Mets, Mullins got off to a really, really slow start, and I wanted that trade from Baltimore. But tonight, he hit a triple, double, single, so he's starting to hit a little. But Ryan Hensley, man, what is going on with him? He was great closing for the Cardinals all season. He comes to the Mets, and he's a setup. There's no way he's going to close because of Diaz. And he's just not handling it that well, even though he's saying all the right things, but he's getting hit hard, and it's not pretty. We thought that the moves that the Mets made, we thought that bullpen was going to be the greatest in baseball. And since the trade deadline, it has not been anywhere near that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me look at it from the Detroit standpoint. After all, that's what I'm wearing at Detroit. Yeah. A lot of the Tigers' moves were looked at like these are marginal moves. Everybody's giving him failing grades at the deadline. Well, you got the closer from Washington who's done too bad. Montero, the Braves. What people have to understand is this, okay? When you trade a guy to another team, that's a fresh start. But what nobody understands in this whole thing is not only you trade him to another team, you get another pitching coach. Maybe another pitching coach tells this guy something the other one did, and all of a sudden, boom, it clicks. And then what happens? the one guy that can't reach him, another one does, and then you have yourself a player that, oh my God, he might be a bonus here.
Yep.
So that's the one thing that's an intangible in any sport. For example, you go into football, right? And you have a new coach, you bring in a new offensive coordinator, you change the OC every year. How are you going to get continuity?
Right.
Everybody, what is the true definition of a bust? I'll tell you what it is. Number one, if you're in the NFL, you have the Hall of Fame, you have a bust there. That's okay. But you don't want to draft choice that's a bust because you made a bad personnel decision. So I'm just trying to put everything in perspective here.
I know what you mean.
It's really what I'm trying to do. So a quarterback's only as good as his coaching staff. It really, really is. Yep. And that's what I'm trying to say. All these guys are getting traded because they have these lopsided ERAs. Some of it's their fault. They can't get control. Some of them isn't. It just depends on the animal that you're dealing with. Sometimes you look great one year, and all of a sudden a guy doesn't perform to his magnitude, and all of a sudden you look bad. You go from peak to pits pretty quick, is what you have.
And you know what? Yeah. And sometimes with a guy like Helsley, when he was with St. Louis, he was the closer. You move over to the Mets, now you're the setup guy. Some of these guys can't go from closer to setup, right? Their mentality is, hey, I got the ninth inning. I'm the closer. He's coming in now to the eighth, and it's a different mentality. I seen it just recently, not recently this year, but a few years ago with Chapman when they first got him too. If he was the setup guy, he wasn't that good. You throw him as a closer, and the guy's unhittable, right? So it's all upstairs, right?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I disagree with you wholeheartedly, and I'll tell you why. There's no such word as the word can't, and I'll tell you why. Because that means you can't collect your money either, right? You do what you're told. Well, I can't collect my money. No, hear me out. Okay, you brought something up, and now you got me going.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me finish my thought. Okay.
Go ahead.
But I'm waiting for Mr. Technical Difficulties on here so he can go ahead and take the rat that you guys are getting now. I'm waiting for him to get on here. Come on out there and get that situation straightened out, Mr. Technical Difficulties, okay? But here's the thing. There's no such thing. If you're told to go in the eighth inning, you can be an interchangeable part. All you have to do is get 3 outs. So you get them in the eighth or the ninth.
I agree.
Yeah.
All your actions are 3 outs. If you can't get 3 outs, you better go to AAA, AA, Class A, or whatever. But you're asked to get and if you can't get 3 outs, there's a difference between a bus ride and a plane ride. I guarantee you, one's on the ground, the other one's up in the air. And there was that song many years ago called "Up and Away in My Beautiful Balloon." Of course, now we're not creating the old rendition. Make your own kind of music.
Yes.
I just because you gotta have to. But I know you guys can't get over that one anyway. But
there's no chopsticks here.
Scott, I agree 100% with you.
But there's pens.
But some of these, there you go. But some of these guys, they just can't. I guess they can't accept that role. Right? Because they've, like Helsley, he's been a closer now with St. Louis for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it's been. So now he goes over to another team. Now you're like, oh, I'm not the closer.
But he's saying, Chris, he's saying all the right things, Chris. It's mental. Listen, it happened. John Franco, when the Mets got Benitez, years and years ago, Franco went from closer to setup guy, right? Right. It's happened, and you just, that's what your role is. So I kind of agree with Scott. I
agree with him too, but sometimes they just can't, for whatever reason, they can't accept it. Like it's a mental.
All right, so you know what? Here we are on a Friday night, and we can't accept it. But Rafael Devers go from Boston to San Francisco. Will Clark is ready to drag him all the way out to Russia to stick him in a penal colony. Is what he's looking to do. If you don't learn, wait a minute. If I know it's your show, but so what? You brought me on here this late. I'm going to finish what I'm going to say. So we're going to take Rafael Devers, okay? We're going to stick him in a penal colony, and Will Clark is going to deliver him there. If you don't get here and you learn how to play the position because you get paid a lot of money. Really? Seriously? Really? Come on, man.
San Fran is the worst team in baseball since that trade. How does that make sense?
Well, sure, because you brought on a cancer.
There you go.
And how has Boston turned out? We got rid of a headache.
Pretty good. They're doing pretty good without him.
I'm telling you, sometimes it's all in the eyes of the individual. Okay?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Hey,
you're right.
But he's in the right place in San Francisco. He shouldn't be playing his games there. He should be playing them in Alcatraz.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
He should go
Leave him
down.
there.
Yeah, he should. Oh man.
Poor
All
Rob.
right.
Yeah, I'm turning his show upside down here on Friday. But what did you expect?
It's fun. Listen, and Friday night, I just want to say, I know a lot of you guys are waiting for Anthony Savino, and it's out of our control, but you guys are out there sticking with us. We have a pretty big live audience right now, which we love. We love Friday nights. It's just amazing that you guys are out there. You guys stick with us. But I want to change the subject really quick. Chris, put up that graphic of the Costanza bobblehead the Yankees gave away last night. I wanna talk to Scott about this one.
All right,
if you could get it up. Scott, last night was a giveaway at Yankee Stadium, and it was a George Costanza sleeping under his desk bobblehead, but they only had a bobblehead for the first 18,000 fans, and this is a Yankee Red Sox game, so it's sold out. 18,000 fans. What about the rest of them who bought tickets and want this bobblehead? Which, by the way, the graphic he's showing is someone who actually put it up on eBay while he was at the game last night, and he wants 174 for it, like
for a bobblehead.
During the game. He didn't even get home. What do you think about this stuff and them not making enough bobbleheads for everybody who pays for a damn ticket?
Well, yeah. I'll give you my explanation about why you even having a bobblehead night when you're playing the Red Sox. Can't you use a stupid bobblehead with a weaker opponent? You mean tell me you don't have 28 other teams that are a weaker opponent? Now you're back to really? Seriously, really? Come on, you don't need it for the Red Sox.
Well, okay. Here's the difference, guys.
Well, I mean, you're asking me a question.
I know, but in New York, we could have these giveaways against any team. It doesn't matter because they get 40,000 every night. It's not like, in Miami,
but that's not
you
the
need
point.
A bobblehead night to bring the attendance up.
No, you're missing the point. Yeah, you can't no, why don't you put the standings up and find the worst opponent that you have out there? Why don't you use it when you have the Athletics there? That's a different story. Then we have George Costanza.
They still get 40,000 people.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I'm talking about marketing. Forget about the stupid bobblehead. Everybody's got to jack the price up. That's got nothing to do. Put it up with the Athletics, darn it.
But the point is, I don't even know who sponsored. Chris, do you know who sponsored that? Was it Verizon? I don't know who sponsored it.
You know what? On that, there was a sponsor on the back.
Okay, but my point is the sponsor, whoever it is, that anything, they can't afford to make more than 18,000 of them. You're not going to get stuck with them, first of all, because it's against the Red Sox. Everybody wants that damn bobblehead. And, you're going to have people coming in who are going to be pretty pissed off. And then you have people who are waiting at Yankee Stadium to get into the stadium for the night game. They were waiting there like at 2 p.m. I mean, just to get this bobblehead and to sell
Delta
it.
was the sponsor.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. 18,000 bobbleheads get you a long way in Miami.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, in Miami.
If Miami gave them out every game, you'd have like 40,000 people there every night.
I may be setting myself for.
Hey, Joe. See, Joe Dell's pretty funny, Chris. If you
it's getting hit with yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that would be good, right? That would be, that's a good idea. He should send
Joe. Joe, you should contact the Mets Public Relations Department for that.
Draw it out because he's a good artist. I mean, he could draw, so he could probably, draw it.
You're right.
Send it right to the Mets.
But I mean, I understand Scott's point, but Chris is right too. This is New York, so it doesn't matter if it's the Red Sox, the Orioles, or the Royals. The Yankees are gonna have a huge crowd. But
really? Well, hold on a minute. The Miami Marlins bring the Yankees down every other year, and they put 101,000 over there. Every time the Yankees go, to me, I'll tell you, the Miami Marlins, and this may be painful for you, not only did the Marlins the last time they swept the series because things have been awful lately, they win 3 games, but they won at the gate and they haven't won anything since. But yeah, we know it's the Yankees. They do things differently. The Yankees are like the University of Kentucky in basketball at Rupp Arena. We can bring in anybody we want on any given opponent and do well, blah, blah, blah. I get that. We know that they're the gold standard, whether you guys think it's World Series a bust every year, but don't tell that to every cotton picking stadium that they sell out and that place is all full and they're not exaggerating attendance numbers when they're a road show in their own route, despite the fact they only have won only 27 World Series. Only.
Only.
Well, you're right. Listen, the Mets played when the Mets were in Florida, played the Marlins a couple of weeks ago. They had like over 100,000 people there. So the Marlins loved them. They had a big series there. They did.
Well, they always have a big. They're never going to draw 100,000 for 3 games over there unless it's 4, and maybe you're lucky. No. You got the wrong New York team. Maybe you're bringing.
I know the Yankees
Dodgers.
did.
Maybe in a month.
Well, I know Wait. Maybe you're going
not
back
a
to
month.
The New York Giants or the Brooklyn Dodgers. No, I mean, but in all fairness to the Mets, here's the problem. They come there twice a year, so if you don't get them on the first trip, then you got them on the back.
Yeah, it's not like the Yankees. You're
and not
correct.
only that, they train in St. Lucie, so you have a few of those snowbirds there. It's a different animal. But what people don't understand about the Yankees and the Marlins dynamic is once upon a time the Yankees trained in Fort Lauderdale, and back then it was a different animal to begin with. So there was a built-in rivalry between the Florida State League teams, in addition to where it's carried over, and you had that big New York I-95 all the way down here that precipitates it. So it's a different dynamic when you're looking at New York to Miami to begin with. But the Mets, don't get me wrong, the Mets fans are very boisterous there because there aren't many Marlins there in the first place.
Well, of course, but
the last 3 games of the season is Mets at Marlins. Last 3 games of the season.
Well, we'll have to see what's going on with the pennant race then.
Yeah,
but that
probably at that series. I think the Tigers and I have college football after that.
Hey, Scott, we talked about this on your show. The location of that Marlins Stadium. I mean, why did they build it there?
The only place they could get it built.
It's just
Glory of Police of City of Miami is what he did.
Yeah, well, that's
all
sure.
I mean, it was the old Orange Bowl site. It was there, ready for the taking. Tear it down, put the Marlins in there. The Marlins actually used to play up the road in Florida State League competition about 3 or 4 miles at the old Miami Stadium. It wasn't bad back in the day, but now that's where they only play. They should have put it where the Dolphins are at by Hard Rock Stadium or a landing place. But there, all you have is Little Havana around there. And I don't think anybody's going to be taking a family over there to Little Havana, nothing against the area. But the bottom line is it's not as developed as a lot of the other metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of entertainment districts. It just isn't there. So that was the only place they can end up. It's a beautiful ballpark. I love working in the ballpark. You have everything you need in a ballpark. So all these teams that have ballpark dilemmas, you go to that ballpark, it's great. Everybody that walks out of there, they realize the facilities are first class. But it's just in a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's going on with? I was curious. I forgot to ask you the last time. What's going on now with Tampa? Now Tampa's going to stay in the Trop next year, right? They're going to play in the Tropicana.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. So here's what you have, by the way, with Miami. I mean, you have parking garages nearby, so it's safe there. You don't have to worry about getting. So it's all right in that sense.
Okay.
And the World Baseball Classic does wonders out there because you're catering to a lot of the Latins for how everything was intended. So it's all right there. And of course, when the Yankees come down every other year, great. But when you have anybody else, you're probably lucky to get 20,000. Now, if this team wins on a consistent basis, we'll see. But I don't know. We'll see what happens down the road. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but we'll have to see. Now, back to the Trop situation. Well, I mean, they're contracted to have that roof ready by the beginning of next year. They have another 2-3 years left on that lease. And it looks like the new sale to the new ownership, which is I think $1.7 billion, is expected to go through sometime in September. But they're also looking at but the new owner wants to put it in Tampa, and they're trying to figure out what sites are available. That's the only place that Major League Baseball will work anyways, is that they put it in Hillsborough County. We all see what the end result's been in St. Peter's and Pinellas County, and I'm a graduate of the University of South Florida, so I know that area really, really well. And I've always said it was a mistake when you put it in St. Petersburg to begin with, but they built the stadium, it was ready-made, and they were initially going to build that particular stadium adjacent to Tampa Stadium. Okay, Scotty, Ray, Marlins, or Tigers fan? I'll tell you what, I'm always going to say that I work with the Marlins, but I'm deep down inside, I'm a Tigers guy. I've worked with the Tigers for a lot of years, Joe, for many, many years, and I've been with the Marlins, and I have a lot of respect for what the Rays are doing up in Tampa. I take pride in all three of those areas. I really do, in my own way. I hope I answered your question fairly.
Yeah, no, you definitely did. We knew you leaned towards the Tigers, and Ty Cobb in the greatest baseball player of all time over Babe Ruth.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Scott, we really want to get into that one. I don't know if we want to get into that.
Well, I'll save it for next week.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about all your shows. I would love people out there to subscribe to your shows. You do a lot of shows, great shows. Me and Chris have been on your shows, and we'll continue to go on your shows. So tell us about some of your shows.
Okay, great point. Sports Rep basically is designed. If you go down that drop down where WSFT broadcast or somewhere up there on one of the drop downs, we have a different show for pretty much everything. I think you have to go right near the top, my friend. All the way the other way, it says we're WSFT broadcast. One more over. All right, then list them by show, and I'll tell you what they are. The Sports Exchange is just overall. We talk about pretty much everything. And let's see. Do I smoke, Winston? No, I don't smoke at all. Sorry, my friend. My grandfather died of lung cancer when I was 10 years of age, and I've never smoked ever. And I don't support the tobacco industry in that sense. So. I drink a lot of caffeine, Joe. Not that you didn't figure that out. All right, so we have No Limits is a show that we have where we do one-on-one interviews outside of the world of sports. The South Florida Tribune podcast is one where we do things mainly local. Inside the Pigskin is an all football show. 186 is baseball talk. You guys are the ones that commonly appear on that. It's all baseball. Let's see what other ones we have. We got Sports Rap has become the new hockey show. We have go ahead, tell me, just read them. I can't see that.
How about Candy Show? What's Candy?
Fire Up's a great show. That I call it the Country Club. Candy has her own cast of characters, and they talk about anything. And she has such a unique personality that it's definitely a show worth tuning into because you'll like it. Because she has an Aaron Rodgers mentality, relax, and she can go out there and come up with topics. And her interesting group of cast of characters, they all thrive and make it a lot of fun. It's at 9:00 Eastern time. I take that show off. I need a break after being the executive producer on a lot of these. We also have the Professor and the People. I took a guy under my wing, and I put all kinds of off the wall stuff in there, and he has a good time with it. So we're doing a lot of different things. What other shows are you looking at? Since I can't see them.
Well, you got. Oh, all right. No, go ahead.
No, you tell me. I mean, my eyes are bad, but
you got the one. Yeah, you got. Listen, there's so many here. The best thing to do for someone to do is to check out the website southfloridatribute.com, and also you're on YouTube. They're all
and that's it. That's a good point. So, Chris, here's what you do. We don't have a separate channel in terms of subscribing to each show. It's all under one umbrella, the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. Then you can see all the shows under one umbrella is what it is.
Yeah.
And they're all great shows. We've been on some of them. We've appeared on some of them. We've watched most of them. And, Scott does a great job. He's found a lot of talent out there. Scott, I don't know how you did it. You just found us too. And,
I use all the tools in my box. You guys are active on X. And when you're active on X and then you accept direct messages and you find somebody that wants to work with you, you and Chris are very shrewd individuals that want to collaborate and grow your brand. I saw that immediately. We got you on the phone, and now you become a part of our family, and you guys have been a great addition to what we do. And we're glad to support all the shows that you're on. And by putting you on our air, we give you a chance to go out there and talk about them. So it's a win-win. I'm on here on Friday night because it's great to be on with you guys. Any opportunity I get to do it. and you come on my shows and fill a role, and you guys are really good at what you do. I think it's just phenomenal. So I use LinkedIn, I use Facebook to get people, and let alone the relationships that I've built with over the years to try to get people. I had Bob Ryan on recently. The Boston Globe was a good friend of mine. I also belong to an organization called the National Sports Media Association that I belonged to for the latter part of a few years. Met some people there. I get guests everywhere. The thing I want people to realize, listen, I'll tell it to you straight. Nobody's going to tell you that you're going to get ABC, CBS, NBC numbers because everything's so saturated in this industry now than it used to be. But we have an active presence on Google is what we have. And when people come on Google and we're able to stream them to multiple platforms, it's a different animal. You're going to get numbers. I've had guests call me in the past, well, you get some pretty good numbers, which is good to whether it's to promote books, my shows, etc.
Yeah.
So you guys are great. I enjoy having people like you. I wish we could find more like you, and I'll continue to look for them. But you guys have been a valuable asset to what we're doing.
Anybody like us, Scott? We're like a one of a kind.
Well, you guys are one of a kind.
I'm not saying we're the best. I'm not saying we're the best either. I'm just saying you're not going to find guys like us. You'll find better.
Well, here's the best word to describe you guys, and I say this not because I'm on your show, but I've seen it because I relate it to your body of work. And remember, that's how I do things. Body of work is when you're genuine, and you try hard, and you have fun. If you can do all those three things, you got a shot. If you can't do any of those, you're in trouble. And thanks for following the website. By the way.
I'd like to put up a link to your book as well.
Sure.
And I'd love for you to kind of talk a little bit about the book. And I'm going to put it up. Hold on.
Yeah, definitely let's talk about the book. Joe Dell was the most entertaining team of your lifetime. Joe Dell wants to know if the 86 Mets were the most entertaining team of your lifetime, Scott.
You know what? I like his choice of words. I would say the one thing about the 86 Mets is they were a resilient team.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Resilient. Entertaining is a very interesting word because entertaining could mean so many different things. Yeah, they're entertaining because of the drama that they ended up, the way it all came about. But so resilient, I think, is a better. They had some characters on the team. Entertaining when you have guys like Doc Gooden, I think he was on that team, right? Darryl Strawberry, and the group goes on. And didn't you have Davey Johnson as your winning manager, if I remember right? Yeah. So you had a lot of interesting people there.
A lot of characters, right?
Right.
Knight.
That was a lot.
Right. So, yeah, entertaining is probably good, but you have to have a manager that could go out there and corral those as well. But bench frogs, late inning wins. Late inning wins is what wins your World Series. That's where the word Joe resilience comes into play. So I'll use the word entertaining if you feel that way, but if you want to think about resilience and Davey Johnson keeping them all together, he's a heck of a manager.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Davey Johnson was the first manager or player that I got to interview. You know, I was young, college, and Jay Horowitz, the Mets' great public relations guy forever, let me interview the 85 Mets. You know, he did me a favor. It was great. I got to interview a bunch of them, and that was a great experience. That's the first professional sports person I ever spoke to was Davey Johnson.
Well, what if I ever told you that I go back to the early 80s with Jay Horowitz, and every time I've needed to work with him, he is unbelievable. If he is one of the best, I believe, and I don't remember if I did, so pardon me if I don't, he's one of the best PR guys I've ever worked with. If I did forget him, I guarantee he won't be forgotten in the next version when I'm able to write it. But Jay Horowitz, in fact, I think he's 80, and I think it's his own podcast now with a couple of other people.
He does, yes.
Yeah.
So,
correct.
So now you got Mr. History talking about it. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a guy named Lee Rummel up in Green Bay, who was a good friend of mine as well. Now, Lee was too old to ever have a podcast, but he helped me in Super Bowls when I needed advice. I always used to go to Green Bay to cover the Lions and the Packers, and that's a shrine. But Lee Rummel, if I could put him in the same sentence as Jay Horowitz, that should make Jay Horowitz feel pretty good because he's in that big of a high echelon tier is what he really is.
Yeah, Jay's great.
I love working with the Mets. I'll tell you, I enjoy working with the Mets. And every opportunity I get to go to St. Lucie, which is about 90 minutes away, I'll get up there. I like to make that trip.
It's great. Scott, tell us about the book.
Okay.
We have a little time to talk about that, and then I want to
Sure.
get into the new show, and you're going to come on next week to promote that. But let's talk about the book real quick.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for allowing me to do that. Number one, it's a book that was many years in the works until I finally got around to doing it. Old school media versus new school media. We go back to the days where we had FCC, called Federal Communications Commission, is what we did. You talk about regular radio. Back then, when you were on radio, TV, or newspapers, it was a privilege. It wasn't something that you take for granted. Now anybody can get in the industry and they can say whatever the heck they want. Wasn't that way before. You cross a line, it's a $10,000 fine. Do it one or too many times. You ever heard of the word blackballed? You're not getting back into business again. There was a fine line that you had to walk. I've worked for a few newspapers. I talk about my history in the book. I have basically like a little overview resume in there, and you learn about factual errors and some of the people I've learned to, not only in person, but just by shadowing them on TV. And then I'm trying to update the industry of what you've become now. And even what should I have the ability to write the second one, it'll be a shorter version because I'm not going to sit there and do a lot of what I did before. It's just about other things that I could have, instead of going 22 chapters, I went 15. It'll be more like a cleanup version on the second one. But what I'm trying to basically do is tell individuals that are in the business, this is how it was, this is how it is, it's changing. And it's good for students or people that want to learn about the business or get into it, or just regular entertainment. So instead of just saying bad things about the media, why don't you learn about us before you criticize us wholeheartedly?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, you know what? I think what you just said, I think it would be good for, listen, if anybody wants to get into the business and if they're going to college now about this would be a great book to read on top of obviously their studies. I think this would be great. I think it's awesome. And
well, let me tell you, some students that read it don't go into business because it's that difficult, because you have to network. You have to put in the work. You can't go to a place like Toastmasters and be a great public speaker in front of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people and be Jesus Christ superstar. I know who that guy I think I am. You get in the media, you know what'll end up happening? You know, they'll eat you up alive. And I'm not criticizing Toastmasters. It serves a particular purpose is really what it does. And it's a great way to build on your public speaking, but you can't fake it in this business. I had a guy recently who bought the book. It was nice of him. And after you're done reading the book, okay, let me know and I'll bring you on the air. Well, I mean, maybe he's so busy because he wears a lot of hats, coaching over at a local college. And listen, I haven't heard from him since, and maybe I'll see him one day, maybe I won't. But this is not an easy gig, and it's becoming more and more difficult as it is. And I can see myself in 1 or 2, 3 years stepping aside, or what I'm probably going to do is continue doing what we're doing with the podcast. But I'm actually looking to do 50% sports or 50% news or off the wall stuff by incorporating travel and other things, so I don't have to deal with PR people and be able to do spontaneous things like I did when we were out in Europe. And you know, you and I, Rob, joke around about the make your own kind of music. But let me tell you, you go. But if you go on a cruise and you hit all these different islands, you stick that microphone in there and you have somebody doing the video. It's a lot of fun, and it allows you to be so loose. It's better than a darn tranquilizer.
Oh, it's great.
But it's about being creative and different. If you don't, if you ever learn anything from me, here's what you have to do. You got to be creative and you got to be different. You have all these different people doing the same thing. What makes you better than the other? So somebody like that will want to come back. And that's the one thing I've really tried to go out there and emphasize to a lot of people. I really am. Don't worry, Joe. When Anthony gets back, I'm definitely available anytime they want me with here. I was looking forward to it, building up all week to do it, but it'll be something pretty good. And Anthony gets on, but I'm glad that we were able to make it work tonight, no matter what. I've had a situation where a guest couldn't make it. And I'll tell you one thing, I'll give you a story. Great, Joe, out of the book. And if you ever get a chance to get the book, it's available on Amazon, Kindle, or Barnes and Noble, and you can get it that way as well. But I had a situation where, I don't mind telling you names this time. Many of you, if you're a long-time NFL fan, Jack Tatum, the assassin, stood me up on a show, is what he did. I was the producer, and I had a local anchor by the name of Mike Berry, who I believe was from another network in our area, but was willing to do the show. The guy stood us up. So then during the break, Mike said, well, what do you think we should do? Don't worry. I have plan B set up. What's plan B?
Mhm.
Open line, my man. We're going to turn this thing loose and it don't make any difference. This is Detroit. This is where you're at. Open line. I know what to do. We'll just go out there and you and I will make it interesting. I'll give you some things here because at that time I was producing the show. So I had input. And by the way, at that time I was 19 years old when I was doing it. So I was young. But how you pick up on certain things, we made it work. Tatum was never invited back. So I don't want to bum on here again if you're going to stand me up at the last minute. But Mike and I made it work. It gives me a hug at the end. That's pretty good. And by the way, I get my money for the show. No problem. I don't care. I'm glad. But it taught me a lot because I got my money later. You know why? It's in that book.
Yeah. So well, listen. Yeah. I was going to say that, Chris. If you want to, sorry, Chris, just order this book and
like you said, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books, you could get it. It's definitely a book to definitely read, whether you're into sports, you get into media. It's definitely a great book to read. And remember to follow on YouTube as well, South Florida Tribune, and on the webpage, South Florida Tribune, .com. For all the videos that are on there as well. So
videos and the news stores. Let me tell you, we have media distribution partners. Some of my favorite ones are the Miami Hurricanes, Florida Gators are on there. We have FAU. We have the Marlins are on there as well. We have a lot of them. I don't want to single too many out.
What about FIU? My wife graduated from there.
I had FIU for a while, but they keep changing their PR people around. And you can't keep track of them. So I have the Miami Hurricanes and said, what a downgrade, right? The Canes got them.
No,
I'm telling you. I really
that's the U, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love the U. I'll tell you, don't kid yourself. You go to my YouTube channel and you're going to find out there's a lot of good content on there as well.
There is.
So it's unbelievable. So we had FIU on for a period of time. Not to say we won't get them. Florida Atlantic, my alma mater, University of South Florida is on there. And of course, we have Miami and the list goes on and on. Go to the website. You'll see all the different ones that we have on there. And we're very grateful for all the media distribution partners. They have a local guy that writes from time to time. And we have a lot of national news that are under the plug-in version. So we give you a little bit of everything. Now, what I've had to do is I've had to take myself and adjust my role. I write it a lot as much as I possibly can. But now do I incorporate some of my work over on site into their releases, depending on how we can bolster what they have. It's a constant process is what it is. But that's a great sample size of what that YouTube channel is all about. And we have shorter versions under the short category. I'm learning about all this stuff all the time. It's just unbelievable. And you guys get on there at least once a week, and it's just a blessing to have all y'all. But I like to mix it up and do all kinds of things. No show is the same when I'm involved. That's for sure.
That's definitely for sure. And I just want to let everybody know out there, and we really appreciate it. Everybody's been stuck with us for the whole show. The number went up, so we have a pretty good audience out there. Scott will be back next Friday night with former Mets manager Mickey Callaway, which I've had the pleasure to be on Scott's show on Monday nights, 108 Stitches, and we're looking forward to that next week. Scott, do you want to mention the new show that's coming up and why you're coming on the show next week with Mickey?
Yes, please. Yeah, the show's called Talking Baseball is what it is. And what I like about Talking Baseball, because that's what we're doing. And in this situation, Mickey happens to be my right-hand man, and he's on there every week, and we're going to come up with guests. We're going to allow him to talk about his lessons, because he does pitching lessons as well, and anything that he wants to do. So Eric Katz is going to be on there from a lot. He's one of my young whippersnappers on 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. So I'm going to do a lot of different things, but you're only going to have about 3 or 4 people on there at the most. And it won't be as many topics. It's more of a freewheeling show where 108 Stitches Baseball Talk is more of a magazine style. But what's nice about having Mickey is here's a guy that's played the game, and also he's a manager and a coach. So anytime you have all 3 of those in one show, that means you covered an awful lot of ground, or in baseball term, you covered a lot of bases. So our goal here is to make sure we hit home runs on every single topic, and we want to try to provide it for you in a lot of different ways is what we really want to do. So Rosalie, my name, my book is called Lessons from the Microphone, LESS. Guys, you want to put it on the screen real quickly? And that way, Rosalie, if she wants to get a copy, that's really appreciated. So they'll put it up there. Lessons from the Microphone, if they can dig it up. I know that Chris is trying to do that. but there's a lot in there. And Rosalie, when you get it, come on the show here and tell me what you learned from it. I'm always encouraged to get feedback. But that show is what it is, where we're giving you a different. If I'm going to do a second baseball show, don't you think you have to give me a reason to do it and have a guy on here that has? There you go. There you go, Rosalie. You can get it on Amazon Kindle and Barnes and Noble. So there you go. So now I can see you next week. Key Y, Mickey. I like that. And my glasses are being tested there, Joe. Okay, but it is what it is. But yeah, you'll be on there. I'll make sure Mickey's on here as well. Don't worry.
Scott, I
still want Savino though.
Listen, Savino will be back. This was something that could not be controlled, and he will be on with you definitely. But listen, and I appreciate that you have me on 108 Stitches. It's a lot of fun with the guys, with Mickey, with Eric, with everybody. And all the shows, Chris on your other shows too.
Was fun. That was a really good show.
You guys are great. Everybody loves you for crying out loud. Do that show. Everybody loves Raymond.
Well, come on any night you want, Scott. Anytime you want. We're always available for you. I told you.
I know you are. I know, but here's the thing. They always say that show, everybody loves Raymond. I don't even know what the show is I hear it's about journalism, but everybody loves you on our network, so leave it at that.
Okay. We love that. But thanks. All right. So listen, our time's almost up. I just want to thank you, Scott. Chris, do you have anything else? I'm good. I just want to announce the other upcoming shows. So anything else?
Just a big thank you to Scott for coming on and just giving us these stories are great. I mean, we could listen to this another 3 hours. Unfortunately, it's late, so but
you know what I'm saying? Savino, that's me. He got me tonight. Technical problem. His reason for death.
We're gonna get him back. We'll get him back.
He got me tonight. I'm clever like I'm gonna get you.
We definitely will. Hey, Chris, who's
your own kind of music?
Hey, Chris, who's our guest on Monday, by the way?
The guy Steve from Philadelphia, the guy that's on your show a lot. I don't know his last name. Steve.
Oh,
he's on the football show with you, the Eagle guy.
He's coming on to talk Phillies.
Yeah.
So we'll have that up. Monday. Yeah, we'll have that up on Monday, and we'll be on
Mets-Philly series. Mets-Philly series might be, that's gonna be for the division, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we have that coming up Monday.
Yeah, you got a date with me, Rob, Monday night.
Monday night I'll be on 108 Stitches with Scott, Eric, Mickey, Candy, everybody. I love that show. I have a blast doing that show. I appreciate it.
And I'm going to see you Wednesday.
And Chris is going to see you Wednesday, and then we have a special Thursday show, right, with Eric Katz. He's going to come on Thursday and talk baseball. And Chris, what happened to Chris? Chris disappeared. I think Chris took himself off by mistake. The last time that happened was when we had magicians on the show. Scott, we actually had magicians on the show. They made.
But now you can see my Detroit.
Yes, I could see Detroit. I don't know where Chris is, but anyway, Scott, thank you. We both appreciate it. You're great. One of the best things that happened, and here's Chris. That's okay. It's just great. It's just great teaming up with you and the South Florida Tribune. Yeah. We love it. So we'll see everybody.
Good time.
Yeah, we'll see everybody Monday. Thanks, and thanks.
And remember, hit that sub button on YouTube if you can. That would be great. We appreciate it.
And thanks for sticking with us. Yeah, thanks for Chris. The numbers went up. They went up. So thanks for
more Scott. They want more of Scott. He's got to come back next Friday.
Scott will be back next Friday.
He's got to come back. He's got to
next Friday. Former manager Mickey Callaway. So guys, if you have baseball questions, Mickey's the guy. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.